When you take a step back from the Broadway year, the critic may feel a few things observing their field of curling playbills: amazement at how much that they have seen, sadness at the lack of original plays, and excitement at recalling the array of performances and pleasures sometimes lost to the blur of deadlines. On Sunday night, the culmination of that year takes place, the Tony Awards. CBS will broadcast it, starting at 8 p.m. hosted by Josh Groban and Sara Bareilles, and all eyes will be on big, well-known, and publicized productions, like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and Mean Girls. But not all Broadway productions come furnished with familiar brand names and stars like Denzel Washington and Andrew Garfield. There are other performers, plays, and musicals that will hopefully reap the love they deserve. There are some categories with clear winners, and some categories that will be fascinating jousts. Below is your Daily Beast scorecard for the night, and what I and my colleague Kevin Fallon think of this year's competitors. Happy Tonys: Tim Tebow, Best Blythe Children, by Lucy Kirkwood; Farinelli and the King, by Claire Van Camp; and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2, by Jack Thorne; Junk, by I, a Doctor; Latin History for Morons, by John Leguizamo. Sorry, I have no idea what Junk is doing there, apart from making up the numbers. A low, overproduced play with a dead-end macho posture. Preceding it in the same space at Lincoln Center was the phenomenal Oslo, which made it even more painful. You are now subscribed to the Daily Digest and Cheat Sheet. We will not share your email with anyone for any reason. Kevin, agreed. Honestly, with the exception of what we will soon rave about as the clear winner, I feel like this is a pretty weak year for this category. Tim: yes, we know what's coming. But I will extend this a bit because, as well as the large and brilliant elephant and deserving winner in the room, I want to give shout-outs to The Children, which was the best written and performed play people probably never heard or saw of. Set in a cottage with a trio of nervy people after some kind of apocalyptic event, I loved every witty, savage moment. Similarly, I loved John Leguizamo with chalk in his hair and fire in his political and cultural heart, giving us some Latin and personal history. The guttering candles of Farinelli and the King were very pretty too, but Mark Rylance's magnetism couldn't really lift it somewhere special. Fabulous singing by Easton Davies, though. Kevin: true, The Children, like everything in this category, found itself dwarfed this season by it, which will soon be named. There are few theatrical experiences quite like Leguizamo's one-man shows, and there couldn't be a better time given our country's political climate for Latin History for Morons to be on stage, but it was hardly his strongest work. Congrats to Farinelli for making good on its "We brought Mark Rylance to the stage again, now give us a Tony nod" gambit. But can we talk about Harry Potter now, Tim? Sure. Let's talk about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the best damn mass-market, spectacular, original play, albeit from a pop-cultural juggernaut, on Broadway. As I wrote at the time, I went as AHP Virgin, Books and Films, and went with our colleague and boss Katie Baker, a superfan. I was as reticent as I had been at SpongeBob. But both were terrific. In HP, the magic, the effects, the acting, the story, time travel plus a parent-child set of knots, all work wonderfully. And movingly. Kevin, this production had no business being this good. They could have had an actor holding a wand on an empty stage farting, and tourists would have auctioned off their firstborn to see it, so long as it had Harry Potter in the title. So then why did I coo and ah at the magic tricks like a child in wonder? Why did I cry at the exquisite father-son scenes? Why did I tense in terror at the perfectly structured and horrifying, and shockingly dark, climax? Tim, I loved it. Readers, run, don't walk to the bodega to buy lottery tickets. And then, should you win the jackpot, get yourselves Harry Potter tickets stat. Best musical bands. Visit Frozen, Mean Girls, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Musical, Kevin, the 4 words I don't think I ever imagined saying, give SpongeBob the Tony. Tim: so, one of my favorite evenings out this Tony's year was to see SpongeBob. I went with you, Kevin, who knew the cartoon. I did not. I feared noisy children and childish material. But as my review made clear, this was a riot, and brilliant, beautifully performed, sung, designed, and produced. Kevin, and surprisingly timely. Who would have figured SpongeBob to be the wokest character on Broadway? Tim: yes, it had a nice bit of adult depth to it. The children were so well behaved around us too. Frozen was a puzzling dud, with static performances and staging. I mean, putting your hand on the side of a stage and watching it techno-freeze. Is that all you got, Elsa? And the clothes removal to reveal more stunning clothes at the peak let it go moment, which was satisfying in the way that getting to the top of a boring mountain was done more stunningly by Bucks Fizz in 1981, with making your mind up. What, you've never seen it, Kevin? Mean Girls is a hoot. Facebook is, I think, funnier than the movie, even, with some truly fetch performances, but the score is, sadly, a mess. Still, it's impressive that it arrived on Broadway with the film's legacy untarnished. Tim: Mean Girls was a lot of fun, with 2 performances standing out, Kate Rockwell and Gray Henson. But it was also a musical on autopilot. And so, I wouldn't be an unhappy critic if SpongeBob wins. It deserves all the love, awards, and otherwise, it can garner, but my pick is the band's visit. This, as I said at the time, is a special thing on Broadway. Not a brand, not something from a big somewhere else. Just itself. I found it beautiful and haunting, and I could watch the cast do it all over again, any night of the week. And more musicals, independent of mind and form, should be on Broadway. Kevin, the band's visit is lovely, but, at least when I saw it, far too intimate a story and small a production, from the scale to how it registered emotionally for me, to warrant the title Best Musical. This all would imply that SpongeBob is a de facto choice, but that discounts the intelligence with which it bridges the dizzying dazzle of the production used to appease children and the smart, engaging, and shockingly timely story. The pastiche score from the crazy roster of rock star composers is ambitious and uneven, but the way each calls on a different genre right to the edge of parody is more of I wanted the music in Mean Girls to be. Plus, as you said, our SpongeBob theater date was so nice. Best revival of a play: Angels in America, Edward Albee's Three Tall Women, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman, Cometh a Lobby Hair, Travesty Estem. This, for me, is a clear winner with a very respectable runner-up. It has to be Angels in America. The National Theatre production was immaculate, with fine performances and intelligent staging. It's 7+ hours, and you don't feel it. Indeed, for me, you want it to envelope you more. I love its rawness, its flights of fancy, its digressions and realism and magic, and its heart. And then, there was Three Tall Women, another lovely night out with you, Kevin, our night with Aunt Jackie. To have 7 hours of Angels in America and a play in which Glenda Jackson, Laurie Metcalf, and Allison Pill have a row with each other for 90 minutes in the same season was such a gift to the gaze that I'm crying rainbow tears just thinking about it again. Does Angels in America take this in a cakewalk? Yes, it is a towering achievement in every way. Would Three Tall Women be, by leagues, the winner here in any other season? Totally. What an embarrassment of riches. Tim, Travesties would also be giving it a run for its money. This essay difficult play by Tom Stoppard, brainy, dense, also silly and fun, which is rooted in Tom Hollander's startlingly good performance. Lobby hero, about the shenanigans of a corrupt cop and slacker in an NYC apartment block other critics loved and I thought was a pretty airless dud, despite the presence of Chris Evans. Brian Tyree Henry is the standout performer there. As for the Iceman cometh, oh he did, and lumbering very slowly. This Eugene O'Neill epic is made for Denzel Washington, and he delivers the big, meaty O'Neill Sturman Drang, but my goodness, you are glad to see the outdoors and sunlight at the end. Kevin, this category is undoubtedly stronger than Best Play, with Angels, Three Tall Women, and Travesties all formidable productions. Even Lobby Hero and Iceman boasted strong enough performances to atone for their productions' respective sins. When Angels wins this category and Harry Potter wins Best Play, it will be a testament to grandeur and the necessary ambition of theater, in terms of emotion, scale, cultural impact, and vision. By no means are we equating a Hogwarts spin-off to the singular work of Tony Kushner, but I feel heartened by the message that art and bombast can coexist, given how rightfully fearful we routinely are that Broadway will soon be a parade of jukebox musicals and rock concerts. Tim, indeed, and, apart from the Cher musical, it will not be welcome. Oh wait, Bruce Springsteen on Broadway, one of the best shows on stage this year, and he will win a special Tony on Sunday, is an exception too. This is a special show. Best revival of a musical: My Fair Lady, Once on This Island, Rogers. Kevin, Tim, it is dumbfounding. Tim, I loved the music of My Fair Lady, really loved it. It's the most beautifully played and sung music this season on Broadway. Lauren Ambrose, I could sigh all day my admiration of her. The same for Joshua Henry in Carousel. I was pretty alone in not being charmed by Once on This Island, and questioning its take on race and love. But really, you don't have to be particularly woke to sit and watch Carousel and My Fair Lady right now, the stories within them, and just think, hang on. Anyone want me to rewrite pen, Kevin? The thing that could be said about all three of these revivals is, how much problematic content are you willing to forgive in order to bask in some lovely singing? My Fair Lady makes out best in this. The score has always been the best part of Once on This Island, and the refreshingly inclusive cast made magic with it. Those numbers were stunning. But Team Moan's fate, and the justification for it, is jaw-dropping. As for Carousel, Henry's rendition of Soliloquy, Renee Fleming belting to the rafters, and those sweeping chorus boy-filled production numbers all made my heart leap out of my chest. And the tone-deafness of the domestic abuse plot, particularly its wonky handling in Act 2, nearly made my ass leave the theater. Tim, to audience's credit, I audibly was not alone in wondering what the hell was going on. In both My Fair Lady, when Higgins' abuse of Eliza is being spat out in the most ugly fashion, and in Carousel, when Julie, Jessie Mueller, is being abused by Billy, Henry, and when Billy steadfastly refuses to change or even apologize, there was a lot of tutting and even one, fuck this. With both Carousel and My Fair Lady, you just let the music take over. Or you'd be on stage with a placard, and a raft of numbers for various therapeutic organizations. My winner, My Fair Lady, for its sheer lushness, and Lauren Ambrose, Kevin, My Fair Lady wins, and then the creative teams of all three productions are swiftly ushered into group sensitivity training. Best Book of a Musical: The Band's Visit, Itamar Moses Prison, Jennifer Lee Mean Girls, Tina Fey SpongeBob SquarePants, The Musical, Kyle Geraldum, Oh Crikey, It's Another Band's Visit vs. SpongeBob Square Off, Kevin. I am, of course, discounting, not rudely but with a definitive swipe, Frozen and Mean Girls. Kevin, this is a really competitive category I think. Do I even need to sing the praises of SpongeBob again? Fine, I will. Forget all those fancy-ass rock stars who did the score. It's the book that makes this should-be disaster actually brilliant. There is something undoubtedly special about Moses' book for the band's visit. But then Tina Fey. Will they seriously not give it to Tina Fey? Tim, the Book of Mean Girls is okay, but it's a pretty faithful compression of the film. The droll tone and dry archness is all there. I get it, but there isn't much invention. And Frozen lives up to its title. The story just stands still, with everyone repeating themselves. The stories of Band's Visit and SpongeBob take us somewhere, and take us somewhere unexpected and unexpectedly. My winner, just because I love its pace and originality, is BB. But I'd be a happy soul if SpongeBob wins. I kind of want them to have a joint party on the night. Kevin, SpongeBob forever and always less than 3. However, I will say, as a Mean Girls film obsessive, hardly the only one, that I was struck by how much Fey was able to add to the already near-flawless screenplay that, in contrast to most movie musical adaptations, didn't seem superfluous but actually made the story richer, the characters sharper, and the production funnier. But again, get this Tony to the trophy shelf in A Pineapple Under the Sea. Best Original Score, Music and/or Lyrics, written for the theater. Angels in America, Adrian Sutton. The Band's Visit, David Yazbek. Frozen, Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez. Mean Girls, Jeff Richman and Nell Benjamin. SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical, music. I do love The Band's Visit. I want it to win every award it can, because it both deserves to and because of the wider message it sends about art and Broadway. But the SpongeBob score, all those amazing artists, it is phenomenal. The songs are funny, witty, stirring, silly. And it's a big sauce of pleasure from beginning to end. Kevin, I'll keep it short. The best score of the year was Imogen Heap's work for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which was ridiculously disqualified from contention, so this category is, to me, irrelevant, though if that musical theater 101 thesis that is Mean Girls score wins I will scream. Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play. Andrew Garfield, Angels in America. Tom Hollander, Travesties. Jamie Parker, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Mark Rylance, Farinelli and the King. Denzel Washington, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman. Commit Them. This is a juicy category. Kevin. I enjoyed both Mark Rylance and Denzel Washington's performances. NDW's star power may well win over Tony voters, but they weren't the best performances. Kevin, not at all. Jamie Parker is a great Harry Potter, making the role both his own and a believable evolution from what Daniel Radcliffe did in the film. And for all the magic and spectacle, it's 2 particular scenes with no special effects, just spare emotion delivered by Parker, that still linger with me months after seeing the plays. And Hollander centers what could have been a far dizzier travesties than it already was. But it's Andrew Garfield, right? He's got to win. Tim, for me, it is Garfield. His performance was loopy, magnetic, intelligent, soulful. And I'm a pushover for a man in a glorious Swanson turban. I agree totally about Hollander and Parker, but the richness of the acting, the various weathers that Garfield has to give us over 7 hours, is just an amazing feat of his craft. The other 2 give wonderful performances, but giving us a lovely 5 notes to his soaring 25. Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play. Glenda Jackson, Edward Albee's 3 Tall Woman. Condola Rashad, St. Joan. Lauren Ridloff, Children of a Lesser God. Amy Schumer, Meteor Showerdom. Can I keep this one short? Glenda Jackson. Just Glenda Jackson. Kevin, if the Tony Awards telecast isn't open on Sunday with the hosts just walking to the microphone and screaming, Glenda Jackson, just to get it all over with, the night will have been a colossal waste of all our time. Tim Jackson's performances. The embittered, vinegary matriarch A&LB's play gave us both such pleasure that night, didn't it? Then I met her for a hugely entertaining interview. Ridloff gave a stunning Broadway premiere performance in an underloved show. I wasn't as keen on Rashad as a two-meek Joan, and Schumer was fun, and thanks for that. But Glenda, obviously, I cannot wait for her speech, if she shows up. Best performance by an actor in a leading role in a musical. Harry Haddon Patton, My Fair Lady. Joshua Henry, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel. Tony Shalhoub, The Band's Visit. Ethan Slater, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Music Album. Great category. Honestly, I enjoyed all these men in such a ranging group of roles. Kevin, you know what I'm going to say, Tim. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea and athletically carried a difficult show with surprising agility and character work that did not imitate but in fact humanized a cartoon sponge, and by the way was really cute, too. I'll concede that Joshua Henry's singing voice nearly gave me an orgasm at the end of Act 1 in Carousel, and Harry Haddon Patton is a great Henry Higgins when, really, there almost never is a great Henry Higgins. And who doesn't love Tony Shalhoub? But give it to SpongeBob, Tim. For me, Joshua Henry. I didn't orgasm, but I did worry about the structural safety of the theater at the end of Act 1 of Carousel. Henry's magnificent voice raised the rafters, then smashed them. I wonder if his unsympathetic character might get in the way of the Tony. I loved Ethan Slater too, but I was most impressed by Haddon Patton, Henry, and Shalhoub's command of their music, and Henry's most of all. Best performance by an actress in a leading role in a musical or an Ambrose. My Fair Lady. Haley Kilgore, Once on This Island. Legends. Summer, The Donna Summer musical. Katrina Lang, The Band's Visit. Taylor Louderman, Mean Girl. Jessie Mueller, Rodgers. Her Eliza in My Fair Lady sings like a lark gliding over the fields. And her character's ending is a radical and welcome one for the character, and one which harkens back to the original Pygmalion. Katrina Lang is a strong and also slinky heroine in BV. Kevin, it speaks to the poor direction of a musical when Jessie Mueller is cast as your leading lady and she barely makes an impression at all. She's a supernova, but in Carousel I felt like she was set to dim. Haley Kilgore is a revelation in the same Once on This Island role that launched fellow nominee LaChanze's career, which is a fun fact that almost makes it worth it for LaChanze to be nominated for the disco disaster of summer. And Taylor Louderman maybe had the most difficult job in Mean Girls and, I thought, made bold choices that mostly paid off. Lank is hypnotizing, but suffers from my issue with The Band's Visit in all of these categories. It's not a big enough performance to compete with what Ambrose is doing in My Fair Lady. Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a play. Anthony Boyle, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Michael Sara, Lobby Hero. Brian Tyree Henry, Lobby Hero. Nathan Lane, Angels in America. David Morse, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman. Commit Them, Kevin and I, without commercials, are entering the 4th hour of this, with no wine or Doritos. So, this is tough. Kevin, though anyone reading my maniacal screaming about SpongeBob would be excused for assuming I'm drunk. Tim, Boyle is excellent in HP, silly and funny, and also loyal and earnest, and there is a slightly sexual romantic charge to his friendship with Albus. I really enjoyed watching him. Kind of Carol Burnett-made young man. Kevin, this is a category that could have easily just been populated by the entire supporting male cast of Angels in America. In some ways, I'm still annoyed that it pretty much isn't. Will probably delivered my favorite non-Angels featured turn of the season, but with due respect to the rest of the category, which, includes Michael Sara, Nathan Lane might as well arrive Sunday night with a bag labeled "This is for my Tony." Tim. Yep, Nathan Lane's spitting, roiling, vengeful, vulnerable, evil, desperate Roy Cohn has to win. Brian Tyree Henry was a wonderful, lively anchor and lobby hero, but Lane and his fireworks win. Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Play. Susan Brown, Angels in America. Noma Dumezweni, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Deborah Findlay, The Children. Denise Goff, Angels in America. Laurie Metcalf, Edward Albee's Three Tall Women. Tim. Ouch. Judges. Ouch. This is another wonderful array of choices, very different roles, very different plays. Denise Goff for Angels is my choice, for making the mad and maddening Harper intelligible, and also a character to root for, whether in ethereal snowbound dreamscape, or stark reality. I loved Susan Brown in the same play, and we should say the actors play multiple characters in Angels, which is as much a treat for us as must be demanding for them. Kevin Goff is performing acting miracles over on the Angels in America stage. But there was no moment more thrilling for me this year than Laurie Metcalf standing on the lip of the John Golden Theatre stage, a shuffle more forward and she'd be on the front row's lap, delivering her big monologue in the second half of Albee's play. There are no tricks or tics or pageantry. Just masterpiece-level acting. Tim. The others all gave wonderful performances too. Findlay is a careworn radical in The Children, Noma Dumezweni is the severe and also naughty Hermione in HP, and Metcalf meeting Glenda at just the right level. But it's Goff, and all that inner and outer character and spirit for me. Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical. Norbert Leo Butz, My Fair Lady. Alexander Gemignani, Rogers. Thank goodness for Henson in Mean Girls. His gay teen character has not only all the smarts but also all the best moves, and part of his character is letting us know, fourth wall be gone, that he has the best moves that he wants us to appreciate. Gavin Lewis Squidward Q Tentacles in SpongeBob is pretty fabulous, tap dancing with 4 legs in his big number, probably my favorite number in the show. Stachel is a beautiful singer, and swoonsome. I'm going Henson, because I'm trying to remember who surprised me most, and made me smile the most. It was him. Kevin. For me, this is a battle of the tap dancing hams. Gavin Lee's big production number is a ton of fun, but, despite playing maybe the best character from the SpongeBob cartoons, he barely makes an impression in the rest of the show. So I'd give this to Henson, who gives the kind of joyful, gay-as-hell, put-on-a-show-damn-it performance in Mean Girls that isn't just a delight to watch, but which inspires young kids to think, I want to do that, too. Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical. Ariana DeBose, Summer, The Donna Summer Musical. Renee Fleming, Rogers. Dis and her co-stars of the Donna Summer Musical do their best, despite the material around them. It's Renee Fleming, not just for You'll Never Walk Alone, but also for looking so delighted by the prospect of that endless clam bake.